Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New York City, Season 10, Episode 14, Dating Wishes and Cabaret Dreams. Okay, I missed you guys. It's been 2 weeks and it has been too long, but New York pulled out another great episode, so it was worth the wait. Also, real quick, I just want to remind everybody that next Monday is the start of season 13, I want to say, for The Real Housewives of Orange County. I will be recapping that every Monday at 1 p.m. Central Time, so stick around for that next Monday. And then 2 days later on Wednesday, I will continue with my New York recaps. And New York, sneak peek of what is coming up looks fan-freaking-tastic. The Colombia trip, the Cabaret show, oh my God. We got a lot of good stuff coming up. But let's get into this episode, episode 14. The show opens with Luann working on her cabaret show, and apparently she has added Sonia to the show, and Sonia is going to sing Money with her. Can't wait. Also, she said that Rachel Dratch was going to be in the show, which kind of now makes me want to go see the show because I love Rachel Dratch. I can't imagine what she's going to be doing in this cabaret show, but I love her and she's hilarious, so I think that would be funny. Next, we see Tinsley come over to Carol's apartment. She's sitting on the couch and they show Baby coming down those stairs. You know, like those scary little steps that are just drilled into the wall with no railing or anything. Apparently Baby's worked out how to go up and down them because you see Baby coming down the steps. It's kind of cute. Anyway, Tinsley comes over with a gift of little half gloves that have half of a heart on both sides so that when you put them together, you see the heart. I mean, it's cute, but they do look like they came from the children's department. So Carol mentions to Tinsley that Adam bought her 5 dozen tulips, and I guess he's really trying to get her back. I mean, according to Carol. And maybe he is, who knows? I don't know their life, I don't know their relationship, whatever, it's fine. Tinsley mentions that she and Scott are going to move in together. So they're really taking a big step from her hotel room to another hotel room. Yeah, it just made more sense that we just stay at the hotel, and so we're moving to a bigger penthouse room. I guess that does make sense, it's fine, but it also kind of tells me that there isn't a real strong level of commitment there, okay? Yeah, we're gonna move in together, but let's not push things by signing a year lease. Then the doorbell rings, and Carol got this clear, lucite box with a dozen red roses. Each one was stuck in its own little hole, and there was water in the bottom of it. It was sort of like a vase. It was very modern looking and cool, and it was actually an invitation from her friend Rory, I think she said her name was, and she's like a matchmaker, and she is running this speed dating event that she's inviting Carol to, and told Carol to invite all her friends. Meanwhile, Sonia goes over to Bethany's apartment and manages to score herself another free pair of Skinny Girl jeans because I guess they're too big for Bethany or something. And these ones are red, and Sonia's telling her, oh, this is the hot color of the season. It's sort of like a dark red. And instead of just saying, oh, really cool, I'm glad you like them. No, Bethany's like, who says who? Who says they're red? Who says that's a hot color? Who? Where'd you hear that? Who's saying that? Jesus, Bethany, what is the matter with you? Sonia says, well, I mean, I was a fashion forecaster, so I kind of know where the trends are going, that kind of thing. Whether Sonia is full of baloney or not, why attack her for saying, thank you, that's the hot new color of the season? Bethany acted like she was offended by the comment. So weird. Anyway, those two start talking about online dating. So Sonia has herself out there on a couple of online dating apps. And Bethany starts reading Sonia's profile, and it is kind of funny because she's all these things she does. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own toaster oven. I do this, I do that. I'm a whatever. And it just went on and on. I'm a director, I'm a producer. It was so funny. And then for some reason that I'm not sure I understand, she then rolls over on the couch and lifts the back of her skirt, revealing her bum to the world, and Bethany gives it a little whack. I mean, I don't know that there was any reason for it other than the fact that Sonia is just an exhibitionist and likes doing that kind of thing, so. Next, we see Dorinda at a store called Giovanni's or something like that, and that is a friend of hers, and she is meeting Luann there because they are picking out some dresses for Luann to wear to her cabaret show. But Luann's late, which is kind of rude because she's doing her a favor. And I'm sure she's not paying for these dresses. I'm sure she's just borrowing them, but... So she's trying on dresses. Everything, of course, looks fantastic on her because she's got legs for days. And she's telling Dorinda that her court case got delayed, and they're talking about that a little bit. She's somewhat worried about it, and Dorinda's like, it is what it is. Okay, that's easy for you to say. Next, we see Luann and Carol meeting for coffee. Luann gets to be in every scene because I don't think she's feuding with anybody. So now we see her with Carol, and Carol actually says, I like this new Luann. I don't know if she does or not, but she seems to be pleased with how Luann is treating her sobriety and all that. Luann has just come from an AA meeting, and they're talking about it a little bit, and Luann is telling her how at the meeting she learned, well, you know, I'm just supposed to stay away from people, places, and things. People, places, and things? Isn't that everything? What else is there? What can you be around? Oh my God. Stay away from people, places, and things. Well, that should be easy enough. Next scene is Ramona meeting her friend at the gym, and they're talking about all the men she's dating, and Ramona, you know, I want someone smart, smarter than me, or at least as smart as me. Oh God. Okay, that will be easy. I just hope she doesn't want someone with as big an ego as she has, because that would be difficult. Just a quick side note, her friend, who goes to the gym like this with that much makeup and their hair done? Sweetie, it's clear that this is your first time on the show because you are dolled up for the cameras because I promise nobody else looks like her at the gym. Ramona doesn't even have that much makeup on. Now we see Dorinda and Luann talking. I told you Luann gets to be in every scene. Now we see her with Dorinda, and it's a street scene. They're outside walking in Manhattan talking. And it occurs to me that almost all of Dorinda's scenes are outside, like in Central Park, or she's sitting on a bench. She's going for a walk with Sonia. Now she's walking outside. I'm starting to wonder if Dorinda might be homeless. It's just a theory, but it's possible. She may have lost her apartment and now has to film all her scenes outside. Just saying. Of course, they are talking about Lou's sobriety, and Luann said, you know what's hard for me? Restaurants. Restaurants have actually proven to be very hard for me because that's sort of a trigger, I guess. When she goes to a restaurant, she has a cocktail. And ever helpful Dorinda said, oh yeah, you know what? I just got a gift for Christmas, and I had a bottle of something in there. And she said, you know, it's cold and snowy outside, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna open this bottle. So I did. And Luann's like, and you drank the whole thing? No, I didn't drink the whole thing, but you know, I'll have the rest later. And what are you telling that story for? Are you trying to make her feel bad? I don't think I would tell a story about how when I was alone and it was cold and snowy, it was just so nice to open this bottle of wine and drink it by myself. You're going to tell that story to your friend who was recently divorced and alone in the same cold and snowy city? It makes no sense to me. Then they go to Dorinda's church and they light a candle together, which seemed like it took forever. They were both holding like the flames together in the candle and for a really long time. And then when they pulled them out, I don't think it was lit. Because I think Luann kind of like dipped back in there to actually light it. Dorinda then tells Luann that Carol is having this kind of high-end speed dating event and invites her to come with, even though, I mean, Lou's not exactly ready to high-end date or any kind of date. Okay, now we are at the speed dating event. Carol gets there first, and she's talking to her friend Rory, who's running the thing. And then Ramona shows up, and oh my God, right out the gate, Ramona is aggressively flirting. The guy in the scarf, his name is Brian, and he is the only semi-attractive man at the whole thing. There's a scene with Ramona. She's asking this one guy, oh, so what is your name? And she goes, Emo? Emo? And he's like, no, I think he said Amo. And she's like, oh, what nationality are you? And he's like, American. It was funny. Although, in her defense, I still don't know what the guy's name was. And it's not like it was Tom, Dick, or Harry. Then Sonia arrives, and then Dorinda and Luann arrive. Ramona is working this Brian, the guy in the red scarf, pretty hard. She's giggling and batting her eyes, and she's got her flirt going. Meanwhile, cut over to Sonia, who is talking to a gentleman and said, do I smell like mothballs? He's like, no. Oh, because I just took this dress out of storage. Believe me, Sonia does not have a shortage of men, but she's funny. So now Bethany arrives, and surprise, surprise, she knows Red Scarf. I guess she met him in Miami or something. She said maybe there was a little something going on. I think she said a couple months later they went out to lunch. It never really amounted to anything. She is also explaining that Dennis is kind of an on again, off again, because I guess Dennis doesn't want a serious relationship. I don't know. So Rory announces that the speed dating is going to start. And the rules are that the women are stationed all over the place in different places. And the men are the ones that rotate. So you've got 3 minutes to talk. And then when time is up, you have to get up and move over to where the next woman is sitting. Ramona is still sitting with Red Scarf until he's told that he's got to get up and move on. Then he goes over to Bethany, and instead of sitting across from her, he wants to sit right next to her because he feels like he's too far away. And then he tells her that the only reason he agreed to go, I guess he knows Rory too, the only reason he agreed to come to this thing was because he was hoping that Bethany would show up. Yeah. Meanwhile, we see Ramona across the room just like eyeballing them like a hawk. She's so jealous and she will not admit it. Side note, Bethany's silver pants are really cute. So now the speed dating part of the evening is over, and Bethany says to the confession cam that Red Scarf is not really her type, but that she's flattered that he came just to see her. Now it's just people can mingle wherever they want to mingle. And Carol says to the confession cam that the funny thing is that her friend Rory wanted her to meet Red Scarf, but between Bethany and Ramona, she never even got a chance to meet him. Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like Bethany was hogging him. I mean, I don't know why they weren't seated in such a way that she didn't get 3 minutes with him. I don't know. It was weird. So now Bethany is still talking to Red Scarf, and they're over in a corner, and Ramona is so jealous, but she will not admit it. So she goes up to the bar and she asks for his drink because she's going to buy him a drink. I don't know if anybody's buying any drinks here, but she's going through the trouble of ordering a drink for him and bringing it over to him. And she's agitated. She kind of snips at the bartender for not knowing who Red Scarf is and or not knowing what Red Scarf drank before, because she wants to get the same thing. But what she's really annoyed at is that Red Scarf is sitting there talking to Bethany. I don't know, somebody tells her what his drink is. She gets it. And she interrupts him with Bethany to say, oh, I'm going to buy you a drink since you bought me a drink. You know, in her stupid, giggly, schoolgirl, flirty way. To the confession cam, Bethany is recreating this scene by putting a drink between her boobs, and it's so funny. And she's like sipping on the straw. Oh, I'm gonna get you a drink since you got me one. Cheers. I told you. I mean, Bethany is annoying the hell out of me this season, but she does have these really funny moments that remind me of the Bethany that I used to like season 1, you know? So the rest of the ladies are just standing around with each other, and Carol says that she wants to go home, and Ramona's like, oh, okay, then we should get Bethany and Sonia. She doesn't care about Sonia, but let's round up Bethany and get her to come home with us. Because she was still talking to Red Scarf. I see you, girl. I see right through you, Ramona. By the way, Sonia is now talking to this guy. And the more I go over this conversation, the more I think that perhaps the police should have been notified. This was like beyond #MeToo. First, she starts off by saying, you're so confident. You've got a stain on your shirt and you don't even care. I don't know if he knew he had a stain, but then of course he plays it off like, yeah, I don't care. Then he just goes on to like verbally assault her. It was wrong. You could maybe say that kind of thing to somebody that you've known for a long time, but when you've sat down with them for 3 minutes and now you are telling them, I would tie you up and you'd be helpless and you'd have hand marks on your ass. Okay. Check, please. Now, Sonia had an interesting response to that. She said, oh, I love hand marks the next day. All right. I stand corrected. Maybe you are perfect for each other. But I think she was just trying to be funny to kind of get out of what seemed really incredibly inappropriate. Meanwhile, the other ladies are all at a table now talking, and Tinsley says how cold she is, and Ramona agrees that, oh yeah, I can't stand it. We need to get away from the cold for a little while. And Tinsley mentions that she's got friends or somebody who have a place in Cartagena, I think, something like that. I've never heard of it, so I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's in Colombia. And the others are like, oh, really? And they want to hear more about it. And she's showing pictures, and Dorinda is kind of afraid to go to Colombia. But this place, somebody asked if this was like a hotel, and she's like, no, that's their private home. And they're like, their eyes are getting big. So they're planning a girls' trip, and we all get to go along for the ride. I'm going out on a limb here, and I am going to assume that we are probably going to get at least 3 episodes in Colombia. I've seen a couple of the previews, and it's good, you guys. It's so good. That's pretty much where this episode ends. I can't wait for next week. I can't wait for the Colombia trip. I can't wait for the Cabaret. I think the Cabaret is going to be next week before the Colombia trip, but it all looks delicious, and I hope you guys will join me as I recap it and we can all talk about it together, because it's gonna be epic. That's it for me. I'm so happy to be back. I missed you guys. And if you liked this episode, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment down below. I love to hear from you. And as always, if you have not yet subscribed to Jill Informed, please do so. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time for the next recap of The Real Housewives of New York City. Bye-bye.